Okay, Hurrah, let's look at your writing here. I'm going to start off with your outline. Um, okay, so the first thing I notice when I look at outlines is your organization, because your organization should should have something to do with the task, right? So if we remember the task, what is the task again? The task was to talk to students that are heading to India to do some work, and you want to give them advice on avoiding leishmaniasis. Okay, so let's see the structure of what information you're going to give them to start with. Okay, so first of all, you start off with the general idea that it's let me just move this here. That is spread by the bite of a sandfly. Okay, that's good information, actually. But remember, your outline should help you organize your writing. You know what should go first, and it doesn't have to be completely neat, but it should show me how you're going to talk to the students. So you talk about the infection, you talk about the symptoms now. Okay, that's a little strange. Because really you want to be talking about the avoidance of the infection. And then you talk about the symptoms. Okay, again, that's a little strange. And then the treatment. Okay, now that's not exactly great. There's no vaccines for the drug. Okay, that would be important to also mention. And then you talk about travelers to prevent. Okay, again, this is repeated information with the top sentence. The preventative measures to reduce the risk of avoid outdoor activities. Okay, so this is really good information here. Okay, so this is really what you should be focusing on, and I'm not sure why you're mentioning treatment here. You can mention treatment just briefly at the end if you have the space, yeah? Let's look on to the next page, okay? If you're not living and sleeping in air conditioning, you should. Okay, again, this is, so... and then you screen on Windows. Okay, so if you look here, you have the preventative measures broken up by the treatment, and then you've also talked about the spread, right? So you have some good information here. Some of it's repeated. Some of it is out of place, but let's see how the writing goes, okay? Okay, I'll go to the first page. Okay, as you know, leishmaniasis is an infectious disease spread by the bite of an infected sandfly. Okay, good. It is usually common in rural areas like here, India. This disease has no vaccine or drugs for prevention. Okay, good. Okay, I think that's a pretty good introduction. You want to do some, okay, not that you want to, you are, okay, so there's a little bit of a grammar mistake here. Okay, so you are at risk from this disease. Okay, you're at risk. Yeah. Okay, the best way for travelers to prevent. Remember that activity I told you to do in Moodle? Everybody seems to be making a mistake here. I'll get you to fix that. Is to protect themselves. Okay, from the bites by the fallen. Okay, bites of the sandflies, yeah, the infected sandflies. Maybe you want to put that right there. Okay. Preventive measures are important to reduce the risk of being bitten. First, you should avoid outdoor activities from dusk to dawn when sandflies are most active. Great. Okay, it is necessary to go. Okay, if it is necessary to go outside, you should wear protective clothing like long sleeve shirts, long pants, socks tucked in. Okay, so second, you should apply insect repellent. Okay, good. And the chemical DEET to be exported to the skin. Okay, stay in air conditioning. Okay, good. Okay, but stay in air conditioning. So this doesn't make sense, actually. Yeah, if you go outside, you have to do this. And now you're talking about being back in air conditioning. So this is a little bit of a logistical error here. If you are not living and sleeping in that area, you should use a bed net. Okay, so the organization of your information here is not the greatest, okay? And spray clothing to prevent containing insecticides. You should use screens on the doors and windows to reduce. Okay, so I think the part where you talk about if you have to go outside should come after this. The organization this information about avoiding staying indoors and all that, it seems to me to make more logical sense to talk about going outside after you've talked about, what you can do to protect yourself. Okay, so now you're talking about the symptoms of leishmaniasis. Okay, it can leave ugly sores. If not treated, leishmaniasis can be treated by injection and local topical treatment. Okay, however, it's better to prevent it before it happens. Okay, Harat, the problem here is you're off task now. Okay, so now you're talking about the symptoms. That's fine if you have the room. Otherwise, but because you're at 195, otherwise you don't need to mention this. Yeah, you need to tell them. You need to summarize the writing to the task. So in this case, you're going to talk to the students. So you should say, something about them going to India and how it's important to protect themselves. Yeah. Because you can't give patients care if you're sick yourself, right? So I think this paragraph is largely unneeded. But again, if you have the space and I mean the word count, then you could mention it as another paragraph. But you really need is a concluding paragraph. Okay. So not bad. Your task is pretty good. I would probably give you 3 out of 4 for task. The information, again, it's pretty good, but it's not very well organized. So I would probably take that off of your paraphrase mark and probably give you something like a 6 out of 8, or maybe a little bit higher, maybe 6.5, but let's say 6 so that you keep improving. And the information, you have most of the information, again, it's not well organized, but yeah, I think information probably like a very high mark, around 7 or so. The only reason I'm taking off a little bit is because you're talking about the symptoms and things that are not necessary for the doctors going overseas. Okay, so very good. This could easily be an A paper, or if you are a little bit more on task, organize your writing a little bit better, and remember to conclude as well. We've been focusing on introductions, and you did a good job, but now we need to work on the conclusion. You might lose a little bit of information on your notes, I have to be honest, because it's not very well organized. And you're not the only one. I'd like to talk to all the students about that. Good job. Excellent.